What's up, guys? Welcome to another speed build. I hope you're all having a wonderful day, and it is so good to be back. I know it was a week longer than I said it was going to be, but I've had a little bit of a problem getting internet set up in our new home, so we still don't have internet, but we do have a hotspot, so I am at least able to get some videos out for you guys. If there is any reason why I don't post a video, just know it's not because I don't want to. It is because I don't have internet. So just keep that in mind. But like I said, it is very good to finally be back making builds for you guys. I have missed it so much. I absolutely love to build in The Sims and share it with you guys. Hopefully you guys have missed me as well. Of course, not too much. I didn't want you guys to keep waiting for me, but it is nice to be missed a little bit. So hopefully you guys did miss me. But if not, then at least you are here watching this video and supporting me now that I'm back. Today's video is a little bit of a special one, at least for me. It is pretty much an exact copy of the brand new house me and my husband purchased. This actually is a new construction house. It was built in 2025. I never thought I would ever be able to buy a brand new house, but honestly, the prices of houses are so outrageous anyways that we really weighed out the pros and cons of buying a brand new house versus buying a house that is probably about 30 years old. Like, I really wanted an in-ground pool, but that adds so much money onto the house, and you know, there's no way we could do a new construction house with a brand new pool. I would have had to have done like a 20 or 30-year-old house, probably closer to 30 years, that had a pool but super outdated. And that was still more expensive than buying a brand new house without a pool. And this house came with a screened-in back porch. It came with a very pretty white vinyl privacy fence. It came landscaped. Now, to be fair, the landscaping is very similar to what I have, but I have the basic version. And I really wanted it to look good in The Sims. And so I might have fibbed a little bit here and there as far as the landscaping is concerned, and the floor plan. You know, the scaling is just so different compared to Sims versus real life, and so I did the best that I could to make it as true to the house that we purchased as possible. So with that being said, it is fair to say that this is a very realistic house here in The Sims. Like, I love a good realistic house, but usually my realistic houses are not super hyper realistic. Like, I still like them to look good in The Sims, but I have realistic notes throughout the build. This one, however, is very realistic. I guess it's safe to say that it is hyper realistic, and I kind of love that about it. Like I was saying, it is super hard to make super realistic houses here in The Sims and also make them look good. And so, yeah, I really tried my hardest to make it look just like it does in person, in real life, but make it look good at the same time. So I pretty much have the outside all together. Like, my driveway, this driveway is a single car driveway. But in real life, I do have a double car. So that is an example of how the scaling is very different compared to real life versus The Sims. But the way that the sidewalk is going from the driveway up to the front door, with that little bit of a flower bed right there in between it, and then the hedgerow bushes along the main part of the right side of the house, that is exactly the same. This entryway right here, foyer, I think foyer is technically on the inside, but this entryway, the front porch, if you will, even though it's not really a porch, that is exactly the same. And this front door, you know, isn't identical to what I have in real life, but it is very similar. I have like windows at the very top of the door, and I absolutely love that. Every time I've lived in a house in my life, I've only had like a solid front door. I've never had one with windows, so that is super exciting for me, even though it's super, kind of basic, I feel like. But yeah, sometimes the little things are what matters the most. Something else that is different about this build versus my house in real life is the fact that I do put these circular pavers from like the driveway through the back or side gate leading to the backyard, and then it leads to the back porch. That is not there at this time, but I do want to do something like that eventually, so I figured why not go ahead and add it here. And it's something else that makes this area, and it's something else that made that area look a little bit cuter and not so bland and basic. And so I ended up putting those circular path stones. I do have the screened-in door. I have it in real life, and I did include it here in The Sims. I am using the Greenhouse Haven kit to be able to have the screened-in effect. I love those windows. I didn't even know those existed until a subscriber of mine commented on one of my videos. And I was talking about how I really wanted to do a screened-in porch, blah, blah, blah. And they told me, go look at the Greenhouse Haven kits, and some of those windows have a swatch that has a screen on it. And so ever since then, I have been doing screened-in porches so much. I haven't done one like this yet though, and I really, really like how it came out. I'm looking forward to doing the same thing on like future builds. I usually just do it around like an in-ground pool, how a lot of people have in-ground pools and they have a screen around it. That's usually how I do it, but I never thought of doing it like this until now. So that was really, really fun, and it turned out super, super cute, and it really honestly looks exactly like mine does in real life. Mine doesn't have as many white frames around it. There's pretty much just like a huge area on the top and a huge area on the bottom with a screen, and the white frames are just in the corners. You guys probably know what I mean. It's like a typical screened-in porch. But that was another thing I never thought I would have on a house. I never really thought about it, but we came and looked at this house, and it had it, and I thought it was perfect. It had the screened-in porch, it had the landscaping like I was talking about, it had the white fence like I was talking about. It also had blinds in every single window, which is not a common thing for new construction houses, believe it or not. This is the only house we looked at that actually came with blinds. All of the other houses, you would have had to have purchased blinds yourself. And these are actually wood blinds, which those can be pretty pricey if you're trying to furnish each and every window with a set of wood blinds. It's like $200 a pop. So we have like 6 windows, I think, which doesn't sound like a lot, but trust me, it works for the house we have. So yeah, 200 times 6, that's like $1,200 right there just in blinds, and that's absolutely crazy to me. But yeah, that is another reason why we really like this house. We do have 3 dogs, and so the fact that it came with a fence already installed, we didn't have to pay for it extra. It just was on the price of the house to begin with. That was a huge, huge plus, because a white vinyl fence and even chain link fence isn't that far behind a vinyl fence. That would have been a good $6,000 to $10,000 on top of it. So that honestly was a no-brainer to go ahead and get a house with a fence already included. So we didn't have to have that extra expense. That is absolutely crazy. You're already trying to furnish a whole house as it is. And so yeah, everything adds up quite a bit. And another thing that the house came with was appliances, like the stove, the fridge, the microwave, the dishwasher, all brand new, obviously, or so we're told. But yeah, supposedly brand new. So yeah, it's definitely, it is a very, very simple house, but I'm a simple person, I really like it. It is like my dream house, to be honest. It's nothing, it's not huge, it's not small, it's just not double, it's not 2 stories, there's not a pool, but it's really, really nice. And we also completely moved cities. We don't live near Tampa anymore. We now moved north. We're closer to Ocala. We are in a city called Citrus Springs, which is very, very new. That's probably why these houses are kind of on the cheaper side for brand new houses. This is a new and upcoming developing city, and it's really, really nice, and it's really, really cool to watch everything be built up around you. I think that is going to be so fun. There's already enough stuff to keep me busy, at least. You know, it's not like there's no stores around. That wouldn't be very good for me. I really like to go out and shop. And something about this versus the last area we lived. So I've told you guys before, born and raised in Tampa, but I was living in Plant City, which is just outside of Tampa, for the last like 5 or 6 years. And I'm not a fan. I kind of despise Plant City. Like, I'm not even gonna joke with you. No offense if any of you guys live in Plant City and you love Plant City. It was not my thing. There was literally one Walmart, 2 Publixes, I'll give them that. There was 2 Publixes, which I do love a good Publix, and then a Winn-Dixie. There was no Target. There was no, like, you know, there wasn't a lot of stores. There was no malls. There was, like, it was very, very quaint and used to be quiet, but in the last few years, since everybody moved to Tampa, everybody in Tampa is trying to escape the busyness, and so they are then moving to the outskirts of Tampa, like Plant City and a lot of other towns around Tampa, to get away from the busyness of Tampa. So that is now making Plant City more busy. So yeah, it's kind of like a game of dominoes, if you will. Like, it just, when someone moves to the city, the original people in the city are now trying to move out of the city because it's starting to get too busy, and so on and so forth. So I really like the fact that this is a very quiet, quaint town, but I have 2 Walmarts, I have a Target, I have a Hobby Lobby, which we did not have in Plant City. We have multiple Publixes, multiple Winn-Dixies. I mean, I could keep going, and they're still continuing to build. They're building an Ulta also next to the Target, so that is extremely exciting. I love a good Ulta. And this might be simple to a lot of you guys, but a huge, huge selling point to me on this area is that there is a Texas Roadhouse, which is my all-time favorite restaurant. If you love steak and you like good steak that is cooked to perfection, go to Texas Roadhouse. If you have not been, they are delicious. And even if you're not a steak person, they have burgers, they have chicken, they have good appetizers. And it's like a really nice, like, setting. It's kind of casual. Everyone's in a good mood. It's delicious. And they have the best rolls with cinnamon butter. It is absolutely delicious. So if you have not tried it, go to Texas Roadhouse as soon as possible if you have one around you, because you will not be disappointed. So yeah, I love Texas Roadhouse. That was a huge thing for me. And so yeah, I really like it. Another thing that I like is that it has the nature feel still. This is actually a bird sanctuary, so you're not allowed to hunt in this area or anything like that. You're not allowed to kill birds. I don't know, what if you accidentally run over a bird in the road? Oh God, what do? I don't know. I need to research that. I didn't think about that until now, but it's really nice that it's a bird sanctuary. There's so many pretty birds around. And it's really, really nice, and it's quiet at this time. We actually don't have any front neighbors. We will never have any back neighbors because we have like a state trail in our backyard, and we don't have any neighbors on the left side or the right side of us. So we have no neighbors at this time, guys, but we have houses like down the street, you know, so we're not completely in the woods, but there's lots of trees around, to say the least. We have a lot of pine trees, and that's another thing about this house. I have a lot of pine trees in the backyard mixed with oak trees and shrubs and stuff like that. We really need to go out there and do some work back there, but I couldn't really portray that too well in The Sims without it looking kind of goofy. I don't like the pine trees that come with outdoor retreats or any of the pine trees that are in the catalog. They are not Floridian pine trees, at least not in my opinion. They don't look like the typical pine tree I am used to seeing here in Florida. And yes, we do have pine trees here. It is not just palm trees. In Central Florida, there's lots of pines, lots of oaks. You don't see the palms until you get to the coasts, or if they're just planted by humans, by strip centers and roads and stuff like that, just to give the Florida feel. But naturally, we have oaks and pines here. And so yeah, like I was saying, I do have a lot of pine trees and oak trees in the backyard. Couldn't really mimic that here in The Sims, so you will see that I do have a lot of trees in the backyard. I really wanted to give the feel that it's really like, you know, overgrown out there, because that's kind of how I have it currently. But I'm using different trees. I do have oak trees, but instead of pine trees, I'm using like some other tree. I really don't know the name of it, but you'll see later once we finish up the backyard. So we are pretty much getting the main part of the house furnished, and I will have to say that some of this stuff I don't actually have. Like the kitchen, I do have it exactly how you see it. Currently I have fall decorations, like I have a fall runner on my island with like a fall centerpiece with candles on each side, with some placemats in front of the chairs, very fall-like, but I didn't have any fall table runners here in the game, and so I used some yoga mats and I lifted them up using Control and 9, I believe, or Control and 0, and lifted them up, and they fit perfectly on top of the counters. I love that. I actually did that in another build, but you guys haven't seen that build yet. You'll probably see it Wednesday or Friday of this week, depending on when I want to post it. As long as my internet doesn't get in the way of that. But the goal is to post it either Wednesday or Friday. But anyways, yeah, so I really like that little touch. I actually had to look up because I really wanted to place a table runner somewhere on an island because that is so pretty to me. I really wanted my sink in the island, but then I was watching a cooking video once we bought this house, and I'm like, how am I gonna decorate the island? You know, like there's no sink and I'm used to there being a sink there. But I was watching a cooking video of this very nice lady, and I seen in the background she had an island like I do with no sink, and she had a table runner with a centerpiece over it. I'm like, that is perfect, that is gorgeous, I absolutely love that. And so I copied her. And so I did want to do that in The Sims though, so I had to look up, how do you get table runners in The Sims? Because we have none. That's something we desperately need, like table runners that you can just clip on top of counters or tables or whatever. So I seen somebody said on Reddit or somewhere I seen it, someone else came up with this idea, it's not mine. They said to get a yoga mat from Spa Day and lift it up until you get to the counter and place it on there. And lo and behold, I did it and it fit perfectly, and I think it's super, super cute. So I'll be doing that a lot, to be honest. I wish that it had the little bit of a dip on the edge. You know how table runners do that? No, there's no way we could do that. So it is what it is. At least I was able to fit it on top, even though it's not draped over the edge. The couches, I do have exactly where they're at. And my window, the reason why I don't have the love seat under the window is because it is kind of off to the side, like I have it here, which isn't ideal, but it is what it is. I mean, you can't change that. And another thing is that the window is super, super long. I have very long windows. It's not exactly floor to ceiling, but it's pretty close. And so I didn't want to cover up the window by putting a couch in front of it. So I ended up putting it on the other side, like I have it here, and I really like that because it creates a division between the living room and dining room. And so I thought it was really, really nice. I also don't have anything in the foyer at the moment. Here in the game, I placed a table with a mirror next to it. On top of the table, I placed a bowl and like the phone and key set in there, and then a shelf that has the keys on it and the mail in it. I want to do something like that in real life. I just haven't done it yet. This will all come with time, but I knew that I wanted to do it eventually, and so I went ahead and placed it here in The Sims so that it's not completely blank, because I have a lot of furnishing left to do in real life, but I just wanted to go ahead and decorate it how I am envisioning to eventually decorate it in real life. Hopefully that makes sense. My table in the dining room is also different in real life. I actually have a pretty relatively large square table with a glass top on it, and it's super nice. I love it a lot, and it's actually bar height, which I really didn't want, but the husband wanted it, and so we compromised. I liked it. I liked the design of it, didn't like the height of it. He liked the height of it, so we compromised. And I mean, honestly, I am tall, guys. I'm like 5'10", so it works for me. It works for me. It's not like I'm short, so it's kind of, it's probably a blessing in disguise that we went ahead and got the counter height table, because he's tall too. He's probably like 5'11", 6 foot, so we are both tall. When we have kids, our kids are going to grow up. They're probably going to be tall, so with that being said, it was probably a good decision to go ahead and get a counter height table. I had to settle for a rectangular table in the game because that was the best thing that fit in that area, and it was the most similar to what I have in real life. Like, it has the white frame with the glass in the center. The only thing that's different is the height and the shape of it. So I figured close enough. Yeah, it can't be perfect. I mean, a lot of the things in The Sims, I don't know, it's just, it's different than real life. Kind of what I was talking about earlier. But I am back outside, and I am going to go ahead and finish up the outside, and then we will go back to the inside and finish up the inside. For some reason, I like to kind of have a change of an environment halfway through the build, and I go from outside to inside, back to outside, back to inside. I don't know, it is what it is. But while we are on this side of the house, I do want to say that I do not have a pop out on that other side that we were just looking at. It's just flat, but I really wanted the bathroom on the inside to look like mine does in real life, so I figured I could fib a little bit on the shape of the house, and it's not a huge deal. I just really wanted to make the bathroom big enough to be able to fit a tub shower combo, because that is what's in there, and if I didn't do that, I would have had to have done a half bath or just a shower, and no, I want it to be as realistic as possible inside. Outside too, but inside over outside at the end of the day. And while we are on the subject of making the inside as true to the interior of my house as possible, I am rearranging a few different things. I do have a laundry room that it's pretty much right next to the kitchen, and you go through the laundry room to get to the garage, and that also has a closet, not necessarily a walk-in closet, but a relatively large closet that you can put like your brooms, your mops. That's what I'm using it for anyways. We also have like a dirty hamper in there, and it's just easier, I gotta walk from my master bedroom to the laundry room to put my dirty clothes, but at least I don't have like dirty clothes in my room. I feel like it kind of just makes sense, and that's how we have it for now. And then we also have a walk-in closet, and I also have a pantry. And at first I wasn't going to do the pantry because it just wasn't going to work with the floor plan I originally had, but after finessing it just a little bit, I was able to fit a pantry in there. Obviously, it's not really, functional at the end of the day. Your Sim's not going to go in there and grab anything out of the pantry to cook with, but it is for show, and I thought it was pretty cute. And you guys could always repurpose that for something else. But in my case, I did make a pantry, and I also am working on the closet in the laundry room at this time, and you can see I do have shelving in there. I put the broom, I put some cleaning supplies, and I put that hamper that I was talking about. Hopefully your sim would actually be able to use the hamper, I'm not sure, but I do put 2 additional hampers in the walk-in closet. I don't have that necessarily in real life yet, but that will probably come. I'm not going to want to walk to the laundry room every time I have dirty clothes. It's just not going to happen. So I'll eventually have a dirty hamper in the closet as well. I am working on the master bathroom now, and this was another thing that I wanted to adjust as far as the actual shape of the bathroom goes, because I do have a huge walk-in shower, and it does have a dip down, which I never really thought to do that in The Sims before. But since I have in real life and I'm mimicking my real life house in The Sims, it gave me an idea to do that more often. It really gives the realistic look, and I really like the dimension that it gives. And it makes it feel so open in there, which, a little bit of a funny story. I don't know if it's funny or not, but it was funny for me. I had my mom and dad over, and I was showing my mom around. My dad was hanging out with my husband, helping him like unload the moving truck and stuff. And I was giving my mom the tour of our new house, and she seen the huge walk-in shower, and she stepped down in there. And she's short as it is. She's probably like 5'3". And when she walked in the walk-in shower, it has the dip down, and my ceilings in there have got to be 8 to 10 feet. And so she just looked so small in the walk-in shower. She looked so cute. I guess it's not really a funny story, but maybe a little bit of a heartwarming story. I thought she looked so adorable in there, but she just looked so tiny. She looked like a little child. But yeah, seeing it here in The Sims just reminded me of that, and it made me giggle. So I figured I'd share it with you guys. But anyways, like I was saying, I did adjust the floor plan so that I could add that walk-in shower, and then I used curtains, like the long base game curtains. I think they're base game, or is it from Dine Out? One of those two. It's either Dine Out or base game, I'm pretty sure. But I put that in front of the open space where the shower is, and I made it into like a shower curtain, and it actually worked out perfectly. So I'm looking forward to doing more showers just like that in the future. I think it's a really, really good idea here in The Sims. And then I did my double vanity in the bathroom, and then the toilet. Yeah, I had to mention the toilet for some reason, like you guys couldn't see, but that is exactly how my master bathroom is laid out, all the way down to the flooring. The flooring is actually pretty exact to my real life flooring, maybe a little bit more on the gray side. My flooring is kind of weird. Sometimes it looks brown, sometimes it looks gray, depending on the lighting. But for the most part, it looks pretty similar to what I have here. So we are furnishing the walk-in closet, and I am pretty much making it to how we currently have it. We have like spare boxes we still have to unpack and stuff, and we have like most of our clothes out. We still have a lot of clothes to unpack. Well, I have a lot of clothes to unpack. I probably have too many clothes, but that's a whole different story. And so I'm really wanting to add like random boxes. There's shoes. There's like a box of old important stuff in the game. So I added that. We have our wedding box in there in real life. So now that I'm looking back, that box that I have with the little teddy bear on there, maybe I should have added the heart box. That kind of shows, you know, I feel like that kind of mimics a wedding box, right? I did actually furnish the garage already here. As you guys can see, I put a lot of boxes because that is how we currently have it. We have lots of stuff to unpack still. That will all come with time. You can't do it all in the same week, you know. When you're moving houses, there's a lot to moving. It takes some time. And I also put a white, like the cheapest white fridge in the game. I put that in the garage because we took our old fridge from the old house. You know, we bought it, so we took it. And I always wanted a fridge in the garage for like extra stuff. Maybe that's where we're keeping our drinks, or maybe our alcoholic beverages for parties. whatever we want to use it for, we now have a garage fridge. And so I kind of love that. And so I wanted to mimic that here. And I do put some bikes in there because we have bikes. We will end up using our bikes in this trail that we have in the backyard. That was one of the selling points I liked on this house, is that it did have direct access to the trail. Now, it's not necessarily direct because I do have a gate back there, but there's a dip down, believe it or not. This is Florida, which is typically flat, but in this area, it's super, super hilly. And so it almost reminds me of how Tennessee is. Like, it'll be flat and then all of a sudden there's like a 10-foot dip. That's kind of how it is in my backyard. So I really liked that it gave that feel of Tennessee, because I love Tennessee. I miss living in Tennessee, but our family, they're here in Florida, so we knew we didn't want to buy in Tennessee. We're here for good. You know, this is where we were born and raised. This is where we are going to stay. And it's not necessarily a 10-foot drop, but it's a pretty good 6 foot, 6 to 8 foot. It's pretty big. I mean, you could totally get down and hurt yourself probably. Maybe get a stick in your pants or something, but you're not getting back up, that's for sure. So we'll have to go a few houses down. There's like a retention area where like runoff water goes, but it's mainly dry for the most part. And so we can go down there and we can access the trail right there. And so at least we still have easy access to the trail, is basically what I'm trying to say. And it's actually better, I think, not to have direct access, because then you don't have random people trying to get into your backyard to like, hurt you or something. You know what I mean? And so I feel like at the end of the day, it's a little bit better that there is that drop. And I have a road that you can hear the cars. Not ideal, but you can hear the cars. And you can actually see my white fence and house from that street on the other side of the trail. And so when I'm driving down that street and my husband's driving down the street, we always look and we're like, there's our house. My husband calls it the fortress because it like looks so high up compared to the street. It's kind of cool though. I really like it. But yeah, like I was saying, we do have those bikes in the garage. So I do end up putting bikes later on in the build. It's like one of the last things I add, I think. And then I did an electrical box and I did a water heater. We have those from For Rent, the expansion pack. And I love the realistic vibe that those give. I always love to add those in the garage. And so I definitely made sure to do that here. But we are finally outside finishing up. I was incorrect earlier when I said I was doing it earlier. We are now finishing up the outside. I actually put that AC unit, it's not functional, it's really just for decoration. It's on the other side of the fence directly into the backyard. That's exactly where we have it in real life, so it was kind of perfect. And then I put the trash can next to it because that is where I currently have the trash can. We do not have these plants surrounding the screened in back porch yet, but I do want to add those, kind of matching how we have it in the front. I want to do it in the back too. And then we don't have pavers directly out of the screened in porch. It's honestly a blank slate. It's ready for us to do whatever we want to do with. But I eventually want to add something like that, and so I went ahead and added it here just to have something. It's better than it being completely blank, and it's kind of giving me ideas of what I want to do in the future. It's kind of a win-win situation, if you will. On the pavers, I add an umbrella table and chair set, and then a grill off to the side because I love grills. We will have that eventually. We left our old grill behind. We decided, brand new house, why bring our old grill with us? We can just get a new one eventually. Maybe even a Blackstone. I kind of want a Blackstone. Don't know if I could take care of it as well as I need to be honest. So maybe a grill's better for me. I'm not the best at like cast iron things, and I'm pretty sure a Blackstone is cast iron top, isn't it? And so yeah, I don't do it very well. I always end up rusting it, and then I'm like, whatever. Screw it. I'm not even gonna mess with it. Let's just throw it away. So yeah, maybe a grill's more up my alley. But we are also adding all of the trees and bushes that I was talking about in the back, and then we have kind of an access to the back gate, and it's as close to how we have it in real life as I could possibly do. Like I said earlier, there's way more pine trees than oak trees, but I totally hate the pine trees that are in the Sims game at the moment, and we're in Willow Creek. It just didn't match, so instead of the pine trees, I ended up adding some other trees in there. Just know in real life, I probably have a few more trees, a few more bushes, and they're pine trees and oak trees. But it's as close to what I have in real life as possible, so I think it's a win at the end of the day. I think it looks really, really nice, considering that this is a realistic house in The Sims, and it's super hard to build hyper realistic in The Sims and actually make it look nice. I think it did a relatively good job. So we are done with the outside of the house finally. Pretty much how you see it is how it stays. I do end up adding a toy box for like dogs in the backyard to mimic that I have 3 dogs. I don't have a toy box out there yet. I probably eventually will. But I thought it was a super cute touch to go ahead and add out there now. And we are now finally finishing up the inside. I'm working on the food pantry now, and I just added some white shelving, and then I'm adding just random food things that I am seeing in the catalog. It's not really ideal. I do have, chips. I have chips in my pantry currently, and it kind of sucks that we don't have any chips in the game, but there's cereal boxes. I don't eat cereal. There's cookies. I do have cookies in my pantry in real life, so just know what you see in the pantry is not really what I have. I don't know why I felt the need to say all of that, but here we are. Once I'm done with the pantry, I go to the master bedroom and I finish up the master bedroom. The furniture that I end up doing in the master bedroom is obviously not exact to how I have it in real life, but honestly it's pretty close. Like the color scheme is pretty much exactly how I have it. The bed itself is different, and the bed spread, I do have sage green notes. I love sage green. I probably should have done it in my whole house, but I already started buying blue decorations for like the living room and the kitchen, and so blue it is. But the bedroom is sage green, and same with my master bathroom, and so at least I get the sage green somewhere in my house. But like I was saying, the bedspread, it's more floral, but there is sage green notes at least. And I do have a dresser with a mirror on top of it. I currently have my TV in front of the mirror, which is not ideal, but I eventually want to get like a nightstand or entertainment center sort of thing to put under the TV, and then I'll have to put my dresser off to the side here. It's really not an ideal layout, but it's really honestly the best that I'm going to be able to do, I think. So it really isn't the worst thing I ever seen though, to be totally honest. I don't actually have a window above my bed in real life. I only have one window in each room, which is interesting. But I kind of like it because it gives you more area to actually lay out the room, and it's not just like, here's the only place you can put your bed and here's the only place you can put your TV. You can actually like choose the layout however you want it, if that makes sense. So I really like how there's only one window in each room, and since it's a window that's almost floor to ceiling, it gives off plenty of light that you really don't need more than one window. So on the sides of my house in real life, there's actually no windows at all, which is the first time I've actually really seen that on a house. I mean, I'm sure there's houses out there that have no windows on the sides, and I just didn't notice. But as far as I have ever seen in person in real life that I've actually visited to, whether it was my house, a family member's house, or a friend's house, there's always windows on the side of the house. So it's just kind of interesting, The only thing that I do not have in this house that I wish I did was a door leading from the garage directly outside of the side of the house, but that's something we probably could add eventually somewhere along the timeline of us living here. I don't know what all that's going to entail. I don't know if it's going to be worth it compared to the price, but we'll see. If there's a will, there's a way, right? So we are finally on the last couple of rooms. I am furnishing these spare rooms pretty much how I have it or how I plan to have it. Right now I'm doing my office, or what will be my office. I don't have anything in there at the moment. So I'm just decorating it how my dream office would be. Which is like white office furniture, pretty much the comfy gamer kit in itself. That's exactly how I want my office to be, with like a pretty white bookcase in the back, maybe like an accent chair or a plant, you know, with some Sims posters. The average Sims YouTuber office is my dream office, to be totally honest. But in the other room, I actually have my cat stuff in there at the time. My cats have a room all to themselves. My dogs, they kind of roam around the house, and I have to have a litter box behind some sort of gate, and so it's kind of easier to have a gate in the doorway and then have the litter box in the spare room. At the moment, that'll change if we ever have a baby or want to make it into like a guest room or whatever. Then we'll have to figure out where to put the litter box after that. Probably in the garage or something, and put a cat door. I don't really know, but we'll figure something out. At this time, the cats have their own room. Because, you know what dogs do with litter boxes, and I'm not having that, and so it has to be behind a gate. And they also have, well, I left my old cat tree behind, so I'm going to get them a new cat tree, and so they're going to have like a huge playroom all to themselves. They're going to be spoiled. They already are, but they're going to be more spoiled. They have their food in there, they have their litter box. I have 2 litter boxes because I have 3 cats, which, yeah, that's a whole nother story, guys. I know I have a lot of animals, but they're taken care of. They go to the vet, they get food, they have toys, they have a clean house. That's all that matters at the end of the day. It doesn't matter how many I have, as long as I take care of them. But can't nobody tell me my cats are not spoiled if they have their own room, right? But yeah, so I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I know it was a lot of me rambling and talking about my new house. You guys probably don't care, but it was fun for me to do. So if you are still here listening to me ramble and talk about my new house, I really appreciate you guys so much. I really hope you enjoyed today's video regardless, and let me know down below if you did stick around to the end, if you really like my new house, if this type of video is not your thing and you want me to get right back into doing what I was doing before, which I am anyways. But yeah, with that being said, I really appreciate each and every one of you guys so much, more than you would ever know, to be honest. I hope you all have an amazing day or night wherever you are. I will see you all in the next video very soon. Bye, guys.